Welcome back to my channel, everybody. Today's video is going to be a book haul, and I am so excited because I didn't think I would be doing a book haul in a very long time, at least not one that is this big. I have 21 books that I just got from the thrift store, and I'm so excited. So let's just get right into it. I'm going to try to go through this fairly quickly, but there are 21 books, so we'll see how we do. They're not organized super well. Currently, they are organized by paperback versus hardback, so I could go through and organize them by author or genre or something, but I'm not going to deal with that. I'm just going to go through the paperbacks and then the hardbacks, and yeah, it's a little bit of a mess, but anyway, here we go. So the first one is Romeo and Juliet by Shakespeare. I do have a collection of Shakespeare's works, but I'm not sure which plays are in there. And this is one that I would eventually like to read, even though I think it's stupid. If it's meant to show the dangers of infatuation, then I think it's wonderful. I think it does that very well. But as far as being the greatest love story ever told, I think it's really dumb. But anyway, I'll talk more about that when I eventually read it. But yeah, so I have Romeo and Juliet. I have a book about the Greeks. That's literally all I know about it. These two were in bins above the shelves, and that was the only Shakespeare book, and this was the only Greek book, so I cleaned out the bins, but only got 2 books. Anyway, the Greeks. Okay, this book I actually thought was something completely different. As I was browsing the shelves, I saw Virginia Woolf, and I grabbed it, and it's not what I thought it was. It's not the Virginia Woolf that I thought it was going to be, but anyway, so I have Make Lemonade, which now I know nothing about it. We'll see what it is. Yeah, I thought this was something totally different, so I'm a little bit disappointed, but anyway, I have this one. Lord of Snow and Shadows by Sarah Ashe. Again, don't know anything about this, but it's super, super pretty. I'm assuming fantasy, yeah, fantasy, so we'll see what that's like. Paper Hearts by Meg Wiviet. I'm sorry if I'm just butchering that, but anyway. Yeah, Paper Hearts, again, don't really know a lot about this one, but I have heard of it before, and the back sounded pretty interesting, so yeah, I'll read this eventually. I have The Mark of Athena, The Blood of Olympus, and The House of Hades, but all from the Heroes of Olympus series. I actually already have this one right here. So now I have 2. I couldn't remember if I had this one or not, so I picked it up for 25 cents. The Thief by Megan Turner. Again, don't really know anything about it, but the back sounded cool. I think it's going to be more like middle grade, but I don't know, still sounded interesting. Paper Towns by John Green. This is a movie I've been wanting to watch, and when I saw the book, I figured I should probably read the book first. So, cool. And it's in great condition. Switched by Amanda Hocking. Don't really know anything about this, but it looked really beautiful, and like the few sentences that I read of the synopsis, they sounded pretty cool, so I figured, why not? That's how I get most of my books from the thrift store. I think they're pretty, and I'm like, you know what, 25 cents, why not? The Other Bowling Girl by Philippa Gregory. Honestly, could be messing up that title, but it's about Mary when she comes to the court of Henry VIII. So I thought that could be pretty interesting. I guess we'll see what it's like, but yeah, it sounded pretty cool. I have found out that I really like historical fiction, so yeah, that one. So we've made it through the paperbacks. Here we go into the hardcovers. Poems of Childhood by Eugene Field. I don't have a lot of poetry books, and I don't read a lot of poetry, but I do enjoy poetry every now and again, and this would be fun to read to either my nieces and nephews, or someday when I have my own kids. I think this will be really fun to read to them. Wonder by R.J. Palacio. Again, not 100% on the pronunciation. This is a book that a friend wanted me to read, and when I saw it, I had to pick it up. The dust jacket is in like the worst condition out of any of these books, but that's okay. Let's see what the cover looks like. Maybe it's interesting. No, cover's pretty boring. Okay. The Indian in the Cupboard by Lynn Reed Banks. I loved this movie growing up. We had this movie and we watched it all the time, so I had to get the book, of course. Yeah, it's just like a nostalgic thing for me. Dragon Rider by Cornelia Funk. This one, again, looks more like middle grade, but I couldn't pass up the chance to get a book about dragons, especially when it's in such beautiful condition, and it's hardcover. There's a map in here. Look at this. There's a pop-up map. That's so cool. So yeah, I look forward to eventually reading this. What kind of sealed it was, it says at the bottom, that she wrote The Thief Lord and Inkheart, and I've heard a lot about Inkheart, so I thought this should be good, even if it's middle grade. It'll still be fun. The Serpent's Shadow by Rick Riordan. So I haven't read any of the Egyptian ones or anything other than his Greek mythology, but I do enjoy Egyptian history. So I figured I might eventually get into Egyptian mythology and the Kane Chronicles, and if I ever do, it'll be really nice to have a beautiful hardback of the third book in the series. Again, for $1, you know, or maybe this one was 50 cents. Why not pick it up? King of Foxes by Raymond Feist. It's the second book in a series, which I just saw, and this is what happens. I pick up like the second or third or the fourth book of a series, and then I figure I eventually have to get the others and read it, but it looks really cool. It's fantasy. Looks really nice, so again, had to pick it up for $1. Born of Shadows by Sherilyn Kenyon, and it says it's a League novel, so that makes me think that it's part of a series. I'll have to look into it more, but doesn't it just look pretty? It's fantasy again, pretty sure. Yeah, fantasy. I think it just looks really awesome, so I of course had to pick it up. Kidnapped by Robert Louis Stevenson. This is an illustrated edition. The cover's really gorgeous, and it's got some illustrations inside. Let's see if I can find any quickly. There's one. Yeah, just little illustrations, but there's another one. So I'd like to reread Kidnapped at some point, and this will be really fun to go through. I don't actually have Kidnapped. I don't have Kidnapped up here right now. It might be in the box under my bed, but I might not have a version of Kidnapped. I thought I did, but anyway, now I do. Look, it's even got colored edges. That's kind of cool. And the final one is The Golden Treasury of Myths and Legends, and it's Greek mythology, which I love Greek mythology. At least some of it is. I haven't looked through all of it. Yeah, it looks like it's pretty much all Greek mythology. Beowulf is in here though, and that's not necessarily Greek. That's just kind of medieval, I guess. Oh, Echo and Narcissus. So yeah, a lot of Greek stuff, and you know, I love Greek mythology, so if I ever come across a Greek mythology book, I pick it up. So yeah, I have another one now. I'm really happy about. I didn't realize this when I was going through these books, but I also have The Blood of Olympus. It's in hardcover though, so I'm considering just keeping this one so I have a paperback and a hardcover edition if I eventually get the hardcovers of all the books, or if I don't get the hardcovers of all the books and I just have the paperbacks. I don't want to get rid of this, so I'm going to keep them both. And those are the books that I got. I also picked up some free movies that the library was giving away, but I'm not going to go through those. They're not bookish. I did actually, some of them are kind of bookish. Like I got The Shack, which I have Eve, which was written by Paul Young, and he's the same author of The Shack. So now I have the movie for The Shack, which I've heard is really good. I also picked up the 3 Twilight movies that were at the thrift store because they were free, and I'm kind of interested to read the books at some point. I know somebody who has read them and really liked them. It kind of has made me want to read them a little bit more. I'm hesitant, but I might read them eventually, so I figured why not pick up the movies for free. So anyway, that's my book haul for today. I am so happy to have more books. I love going to the thrift store and picking up books. It only cost me $17 to get 21 books, so I count that as a very good day. Funny story, while I was there, I had my arms loaded with books, you know, as many as I could carry. My mom was carrying a few more for me because I couldn't carry them all and look through more books. And then one of the volunteers at the thrift store, he came by and he said, "Oh, sorry, you can only get 2 today." And I had a mini heart attack. I looked at him blankly and I was trying to think of what I was gonna do, and then he started laughing and I was like, oh, okay. But oh my gosh, I would have died. Like I only picked up 1 or 2 more after that, so I already had most of these books and I didn't know what to do. Anyway, just a little bit of a scare at the thrift store. Have you been able to get any awesome books from the thrift store recently? My mom and I weren't sure the thrift store was going to be open, but I'm so glad that we went. Thrift store books are the best because, like I said, 25 cents for some of them, 50 cents. The most any of them was $1. And I think that's just the greatest price. You can't beat it. You really can't. You know, instead of getting 1 book for $20, I got 21 books for $17. So I'm definitely happy with it. Anyway, that's today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. I know book hauls are one of my favorite videos to watch, so they're also one of my favorites to film. I hope people really like them as much as I do. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope to see you in the next one, and have a blessed day, everyone.